Welcome to Hot Takes and Headlocks, the only show where we interview you, pro wrestling fans, about your love for professional wrestling. I'm your host, Joe Zaletta. We have a great one for you tonight. But before we get to our guest, hit a devil's kiss on that like and subscribe button on the Hot Takes and Headlocks YouTube channel. While you're at it, also check out the Hardcore Sports Network Facebook and YouTube page, the best channel for all things sports, such as news, watch-alongs, live reactions. If you're watching live, light up our interactive chat and be part of the conversation. Let us know where you're chatting to us from. The more engaged our audience is, the better we can make the show for you. And finally, if you want to leave us some feedback or you want to be on a future Hot Takes and Headlocks episode, email me at hottakesandheadlocks@gmail.com so we can schedule you for a future show. And now, our guest tonight, he is a martial arts salesman, the black belt of black belts, the cream of the crop. Coming to us live from New Jersey, here is Johnathan Ramos.
That is an epic introduction, man. Thank you.
I was hoping you'd love it, man.
I did. I loved it.
Thank you. Was it the black belt of black belts that
It was like that is quite an honor. Oh my goodness. I hope my sensei doesn't see this. So.
Oh my gosh. Yes, you'll be getting a phone call after, like, what is this being called the black belt of black belts?
It's like, I'll see you in class.
Yo, man, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Man, dude, the last time I saw you, it was at American Dream, the weekend of SummerSlam.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, man.
It was an epic weekend, man.
Tell me, how was SummerSlam for you?
Honestly, man, I've been to like live events and things like that. I think I went to like a TLC pay-per-view back in the day, but I've never been to anything quite like the scale of like SummerSlam or like WrestleMania. Um, like thinking about it now, like I'm getting emotional because it was just such like a childhood dream come true for me, because I'm like the energy and just being there, like everybody, all the fans and everything get together, and it's like, you're all fans, you're all watching the same thing happen and you love this, right? So like everybody's together, everybody's awestruck, that whole event was just amazing from top to bottom. And it's something I'll definitely never forget. It's a childhood dream come true.
Love to hear that, man. We got Dylan in the chat. What's going on, Dylan? And then we got David Burns. He's telling us he's watching us from Cedar Hill, Texas. Oh, I love having some Texans in the chat. Awesome, man. Jeffrey, what's up, Jeffrey? Glad to have you on, man. Glad to have you on. All right. So, dude, yeah, I was at SummerSlam as well. My first SummerSlam ever. It was actually also my first time ever at MetLife Stadium. So, just a whole bunch of first-time experiences going on that weekend. What was your, I think you said that you went to night two. So, night two, man, what was your favorite match?
Man, that honestly, night two was filled with, in the words of Sheamus, banger after banger after banger. It's hard to like sum it all up, but I think with all the energy and everything, it has to be that main event. That main event, John Cena, Cody Rhodes, like from top to bottom, that was just a masterclass. Like John Cena at his best. Like that's old school Cena. That's like JBL used to say, like that's big match John right there. Like it's crazy. It was so good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there were some really cool moments in that match. For me, the one that sticks out was when they went under the stage and they rising up using Cody's elevator.
The aura,
Yeah.
the aura in that match was absolutely insane. Like I was going buck wild, and I'm just like, nobody's ever gonna top that moment. And obviously, at the end, they did.
And they did. Yeah. Dude, we had people leaving in our section, and I'm like, guys, you do not leave even if the end credits are popping up. Stuff is going to happen.
Leave. It's
you
SummerSlam,
don't
bro.
leave.
No.
And like I hear, oh, leave. We gotta beat the traffic or whatever. I'm like, okay, fair point, but still, you gotta stay. Something is going to happen here.
Exactly. And it
And
did.
that it happened.
Dude, when I tell you when Lesnar came out and let me tell you, Lesnar, I think you said it to me, was not on my bingo card. You know? But no way, shape, or form was he even a thought in my head that he was gonna come out, especially with all the controversy he was going through, whatever.
Yeah,
Um, I, dude, like the guys behind me were stunned. I was just like, oh my god, like I was red in the face. I'm like, this is fucking insane, dude. It was just such a great moment, and being around all those people just made it even even more special. And just the second you hear Brock Lesnar's music, shit's going down. You know what I mean?
definitely. Jeffrey, main event was amazing. Yes, it was, man. Couldn't
Yeah,
said it better myself. Mitch, what's going on, man? Thank you for coming on, dude. Jeffrey saying Brock showing up was shocking.
dude.
And yes, Jeffrey, I agree. It was shocking because here I am standing. I'm standing in my section, and the Tron, the music, the lights, everything's going on, and I'm like, for a good 30 seconds, and then my wife is next to me. She's like, record, do something. What are you doing? You're standing there. Like, okay. So I got a video of Brock's entrance, like just a little, just like seconds after the entrance itself started. So great moment. Love
Yeah,
this
no,
concept. Mitch saying, love this concept. Keep up the great work, bro. Thank you, man. Thank you. I really
yeah.
appreciate that.
It was great, man. I had that whole moment because I knew something was coming, and I'm like, oh, it's like the second he turned around and it was like, thank you. I was like, oh, somebody's coming out.
Yeah.
Somebody's coming out. I just wasn't sure who it was gonna be, but again, oh my god, it's so good.
And you had your passing of the torch moment before the
Right.
Lesnar entrance happened. You had
Yeah.
Cena, you had Cena giving the title to Cody,
Right.
which at the time when that happened, it didn't really register in my mind as a passing of the torch moment, just because when we've seen it before, it happens at the top of the entrance.
Right.
We
Right.
saw
Yeah.
that
Like they
for
let them have their moment.
Hogan.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. We saw that for Hogan and Rock, and then for Rock and Cena. So in that moment, it didn't register to me until later. But when I watched it back, I thought to myself, yes, no matter it, forget the like. I understand why it took place where it took place because Brock was coming out afterwards. But yes, that was a passing of the torch moment.
It definitely was, and it was such a surreal moment, and it kind of gave me I don't know if you remember like the Ric Flair Shawn Michaels match from back in the day, and it was like right before he hit that like those last series of crossroads, you just see the look on Cody's face. It's like he just feels terrible about doing it, but he did what he had to do to get the title.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it was just I don't know, man. That again, that whole match was just masterfully done. And honestly, I wasn't sure if Cena's re-face turn was actually a work or not. Like I honestly thought he was just gonna turn heel right again and ruin wrestling. Like that's what I thought was gonna happen.
Yeah. Everybody had those suspicions, myself included. Um, I think for me, my first clue that this face turn was legitimate is his entrance. We've
Yeah.
seen his entrance being very, very scaled back, just the black and the white, his name, and that's it. And that's how it started. But then the colors came back, and it
Right.
was, oh, okay, this is,
It was like, holy crap, like, oh, this is happening. And then
yeah.
even Cody's entrance, man, that was special. That was special.
Dude, my kids love Cody, but they don't know him as Cody. They don't
Right.
call him Cody. They call him the Woe. That's what they know him for. The Woe. Daddy, it's the Woe. I'm like, yes, it's the
He does that.
Woe. He does do that a lot, but we all love it. We all love it. Uh,
Exactly.
John, so I want to take this back a little bit. I want to take it as back as you can remember. So,
Oh boy.
uh, my question for you is, what are your earliest memories watching pro wrestling?
So I gotta say, like, I have to go back to like to the early 2000s, even actually maybe even earlier than that, like late 90s, when I was like, a wee little John, way back when, scrolling through TV, and then all of a sudden, I think it was like Monday Night Raw or something was playing, and I just sat down and I'm like, oh, what is this? Like, what's happening here? You know what I mean? I was probably maybe 12, 13 years old when I first started watching. So I didn't obviously start watching when I was a kid because like my dad and nobody really ever watched anything like that. So when I started watching, it was just me by myself.
Mm.
And I just remember watching into the Attitude Era, seeing, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Steen, The Rock, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, all those guys around the Attitude Era and like the magic they were creating. And obviously, I think they were well into the Monday Night Wars and stuff at the time. So I really, it was just such an impactful thing for me because you see like these larger than life characters and me, little John right over here, seeing all these guys just like beating the crap out of each other and just doing these things that I've never thought were possible. You know what I mean? That if I tried, well, I did try, I'd probably break a bone.
Man, that time that you started watching, man, like grown-ups back at that time, they would, if they caught snippets of it, they would probably think and tell us like, why are you watching this crap? Like they're
Yes.
like, why are you watching these guys? How do you look up to these guys? Because from the outside, you got a guy who's sticking his middle fingers up in the air all the time.
Right.
You
Right.
got you got a group of other guys that are crotch chopping everybody, and you have another guy who's telling you to shine something up real nice and stick it straight up your candy ass, right? So obviously, from the outside looking in, not very the most heroic
Child
or
friendly.
role model type of people to be looking up to. But man, at that time, that stuff was on fire. That
Right.
everything like that was like just culturally tuned in for us, man. Um, so yeah, what were your experiences with any kind of negativity with whoever you looked up to, whether it be from your peers or grown-ups and such?
Well, I mean, like, again, when I was younger, my dad didn't really want me watching that stuff because he thought, I was going to get like bad ideas or something from it because you never know. Like, back then, even now, kids are impressionable. Like, they just copy everything you do. Like, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to start stopping some mud holes and, and some kids out in the schoolyard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but, I remember I had to sneak, watching Raw sometimes because, back then it started at 9 o'clock and then it was going to 11. So like my bedtime was like 9:30. So like there was times where I'm sitting there watching wrestling and then I hear my dad coming. I'm like, oh shit. And then he leaves and I turn it right back on again because I'm like, I want to watch Raw because I'm so into it. And then like I don't know if you remember for like the pay-per-views way back when, obviously, because my family stole cable. We had those little black boxes that you can get, and that's
Yep.
how I watched my pay-per-views for a while. Like that's how I watched it because there was really no other way to really watch pay-per-views. I didn't have $60 to pay or $50 to pay to watch, WrestleMania or Backlash or, First Blood or any of those classic pay-per-views. Like I didn't have it. And like even at school, you know, in my head, like all that stuff was real to me. So like when people are like, "Oh no, that's fake," like you can't, it's not real, and I'm like, "No, man, it's real to me. Like I love it." Obviously, now as an adult, like I know it's it's staged, but if you see them jumping off a 30-foot ladder, they're jumping off a 30-foot fucking ladder. You know,
Yeah.
like you see some of the moves they do out there, like they're putting their bodies on the line one way or the other. Like I'm sure as shit not falling off a 30-foot ladder and gonna come out like, waking right up and be like, no.
Yeah.
But I just remember getting into arguments with like other kids and stuff because I told them I was a fan, or when I had my mom get me wrestling t-shirts, like that's they're like, oh, that's fake. And I'm like, nah, man, it's real. It's what I like to watch, man. It's what I love to do. Obviously nowadays it's become more mainstream because of like, all the celebrities and stuff that are into it, Bad Bunny, Logan Paul, obviously like, wrestling is literally on top of the world. It's the highest it's ever been, in my opinion, especially with it being on Netflix and stuff now. It's like it's crazy to see like how everything's evolved from the early 2000s to where it is today, you know, with the millions and millions, like The Rock used to say, like of people watching at home and the thousands watching in attendance, So it's like
Yep.
it's just insane to me.
Jeffrey chiming in. I had to wait the next day to find out what happened on Raw and SmackDown shows after pay per
Yep.
views.
Yep. I remember that too. When I couldn't get a hold of the black box and I had to I couldn't watch it. I had to wait. I'm like, oh shit, I had to see the little snippets.
Yep. Oh, I gotta show you this. So on top of middle fingers going up in the air, uh, crotch chops and all that, we have another guy sacrificing people.
Ah, yes. I remember that shit, man. Or you have I don't know if you guys remember him, Val Venus,
Oh, the
where he
porn
used to
star turned
yeah,
wrestler.
yeah, yeah. Or when he used to just like he used to come out like as like the big like the sexy guy he used to come to do and call out to random ladies in the crowd and just be like, ooh, just rub his towel.
Yep.
Imagine my mom coming into watching that. I'm like, hi mom.
See, in my household, right? Nobody would come in whenever the guys were in the ring. It's when there would be some sort of bra and panty match going on where
Whoa.
somebody just happens to walk by with with a hamper of laundry or whatever, and it'll be like, what the heck are you watching? Why is she in her? What is this? Like, mom, you could have
Yes.
walked in at any other time, but now
Yeah, you
this
just had
doesn't
to walk
happen all
in
the time.
when Trish Stratus and Lita are having a brawn panties match. Like, come on, come on.
Oh man, it would be the divas that my mom would come in. Yep, there it
Yes,
is,
it's always happens.
all the time, all the time. Oh man, yeah, no, but for real though, yeah, I also faced negativity as well for watching wrestling. I like it was. I don't want to say like you were shamed for watching it. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but yeah, like you got some words for watching something that is scripted. Some
Right.
people would say that it's fake and stuff, but you know, what I would say to them is like, what I would say now, especially to my kids that are sort of getting into it. Granted that today's days are different, but now I would say like, well, dude, like so are your TV shows, so are all of your Marvel and DC shows and
Right.
movies, but you get a real definitive reaction out of it, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm giving off a real legitimate reaction to what I'm watching that's going on in the ring, man.
Exactly.
You're invested into these characters from this world and this Marvel or DC universe. I'm invested as a member of the WWE universe with what's going on in the ring here or AEW or whatever promotion that you want to follow, indie or mainstream.
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, the characters we grew like I grew up watching to me were superheroes. You know, that's what I thought them as. Like I would put them on the same level as like John Cena, The Rock, or Hulk Hogan back in the day on the level of somebody like Superman, Batman, Iron Man, like any of those guys, like neck and neck. Hulk Hogan back in the day, right, early '80s, he was the larger than life Superman. That's
Yep.
what he was, and
Yep.
that's what they portrayed him to be. You know, I know, R.I.P. He always used to say where he lifted up Andre the Giant all over his head and slammed him into the mat. Like, imagine being there live in that crowd and watching him pick up somebody larger than life than Andre the Giant. Like, you look at that man as like the superhero. Like, you look at him as Superman. Like, and that's who the people that I looked up to, like John Cena. Like, that's why his retirement tour is so like so wild to me because this guy I grew up watching is now in the last year of his career, and it's just insane to me. So being able to go to SummerSlam and see one of his last really big matches was just it's just surreal for me. And again, I don't know, why people hate on that so much. Like, if you love something, just let them love it. Like, what's wrong with that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I loved it.
yeah, man. That Cena, that last image of him before he goes into backstage, he's looking at everybody, he's taking it in, and then you see him do the gesture where he like
Yep.
takes that mental picture, right? That he's gonna remember this forever. I something about that just like it cut deep for me on an emotional level because we are reacting the same way that he's reacting towards us when he
Right.
gets that mental picture that he took.
Exactly. And like again, that's why it just hit me. And I think, obviously you understand what I feel like. It just hits you so different to see somebody like him. And mind you, he's going out on his own terms, not like he had a big injury, what, like, or anything like that. Like we had back in the day with Edge, obviously before he came back, or Daniel Bryan, obviously before he came back. So now he's being able to go on his own terms, and it's like, we have what, 10 dates left, and that's it.
Yep, 10 dates and that's it. And then it's all over. Rambo T900, Johnny Boy.
And
Glad to have you in, man. Please stick around.
thank
If
you.
you have a question, if anybody in the chat has a question they want to chime in with, please join us with the conversation.
Yeah,
And
man, let
then,
me know. I'm all ready for him.
all right, man. So I can't not acknowledge your banner that you have behind you, right? So I have to ask you, tell me about the night John Cena turned heel. Walk me through your emotions as that moment happened. Yes, that's the first part of the question. Walk me
Right.
through as that
So
happened for you.
so like, just, obviously, I keep up with all the pay-per-views and stuff like that. That's one of those things. Oh, what's up, X? Just see what's
X, is this VX?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I told him I was gonna be on this, and he's like, oh no, he's watching.
X, thank you for watching, man. Dude, we got to talk, man. I would love to have you on if you're interested.
Um, but yeah, going back to your question, just sitting there and watching, obviously the elimination chamber and everything, and like that was a pretty good match. If I say so myself, obviously you seen John Cena win, and I'm just like, oh man, it's a great moment. And then even having The Rock come out, and after asking for like Cody Rhodes' soul and everything like that, it was obviously that was a weird thing for me, but like, it's The Rock. He can literally say anything, and people are just gonna be like, I'm all over it. You know what I mean? So I'm all into it. I'm thinking, all right, Cody's gonna sell himself out to try to, keep his title, to be larger than life, something like that. Obviously, I saw it coming that he was obviously gonna, no, I'm not about it. He's gonna deny him, right? And you see John Cena in the background, right? He's just like, oh yeah, like clapping up for when he says, fuck, gives a big old fuck you to, The Rock, you know, and in that hug, and obviously you see my background there, and I just
Mhm.
like, when I see his face, I'm just like, when I tell you, like, my heart went down into my stomach, I was just like, no fucking way. Because for years, and I say this for fucking years, they've been wanting John Cena to turn fucking heel. But, Vince McMahon would never fucking do it. He would never do it. T-shirt sales, everything like that, his movies, TV shows, everything he's did, they were just never going to do it. I knew it was never going to happen. Obviously, me as an adult, like, I see like the value in it. Like, like you're never going to do it. It was just not in his character anymore. You know, Obviously early on in his career, you remember him being kind of heelish. When he was first the doctor of thugonomics and everything, when
Yep.
he first came in, ruthless aggression, um, but you just never thought it would happen, especially in his final year. And then when he came in and just kicked him right in the nuts, I was just like, oh, what? Holy shit, man! I was just like all for it. Like I'm sitting there glued to the screen like this, and I'm just like, and you just hear me screaming. I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? I look around for a second and I pinch myself. I'm like, am I dreaming? Like John Cena turning fucking heel because of The Rock of all people? I was just so taken aback by it, but I was just like, all right. Matthew
Yeah.
McConaughey, all right. I was just like, So like that just made me want to tune in for the next night, and then you just hear, obviously his big speech and everything, like how, you know, he had like a what is it, poisonous relationship, or like I don't remember, a toxic relationship with
Toxic,
like the
yeah.
WWE universe, and I'm just like, holy shit, like, that's right, it's true, and I don't know, it just really like it sunk in with me. Like this is fucking it. This is John Cena as a heel, and then he wants to ruin fucking wrestling, and I was all for it. I would have loved for him to say as a heel for the rest of the year and just come out and ruin fucking wrestling. But I could see why, obviously like they kind of kiboshed it a little bit. And I don't know if you saw Unreal, where like you see, did you watch
I
WWE
did,
Unreal?
yeah.
Right, so you see like all that stuff happen. It's leading up to it, like one of the last episodes of it. Like you see it leading up to how this heel turn happened, and I thought, oh, this is fucking cool. Like this is fucking sweet.
Yeah, man.
Just to see all this coming, how nobody knew, and like you see even Michael Cole, right? You hear Michael Cole in the background. It's like, John, what the fuck, John? Like,
So we're gonna touch on Unreal a little bit later, but while we're at it, right? So the heel turn happens, right? Now we have the next 3, 4 months, right? Give me your grade for the heel run in a nutshell.
so it wasn't. I want to say it wasn't like the best thing in the world. Like I was all for it, but I'm gonna go with a solid B plus,
Okay.
if I'm being honest. Like the initial for it had me at like it had me at a high, but then it started to get a little soft for me. Um, Especially like maybe with like the R-Truth stuff and things like that, and like his matches obviously weren't really, in my opinion at the time, like a John Cena level match. You know, like X down there gives it a C plus. Like I'm being a little generous giving it a B plus because John Cena, childhood hero. But like I don't know, I just felt like there was a lot of other people I would have loved to see him face. Obviously as a heel, and then, yeah, I just felt like there could have been a little bit more things to it. Um, but obviously the initial part of starting with Cody Rhodes and obviously leading into Mania, and then him telling people, I ain't giving you no freaking new entrances. This is all you get. Motherfucker. And I was like, all right, I'm all for it. Um, and then like even leading up to even at Mania, man, that match was just not good. I don't know what you thought about it. I was not a fan. Obviously SummerSlam came back with a vengeance, but like that just match was just so lackluster, and I felt like Travis Scott was just so out of place in
Yeah.
that match. And again, I was expecting The Rock or somebody to come out, but to have just Travis Scott, just, and mind you, just no sense of urgency, just literally like trying to penta aura down the ring. Like, come on, like what is he doing? Like, I don't
Right.
know. It wasn't like one of the most shining moments. Yes, I'm glad he won because I feel like he needed to be, 17-time world champ. He needed to solidify himself over Ric Flair, you know. And there obviously would never be another John Cena.
Mhm.
So I mean, I'm glad he got this run, but I do kind of wish there was just a little bit more to it. But overall, I think it was all right. I think it was all right.
All right. And I think that your grade is fair, you know. Some might argue that it may be a little bit too generous for those that
Yeah,
really hated
yeah,
the heel run. But, the heel run is what it was. Like if I had an opportunity to if I had the magic genie to tell me, hey, grant this wish and we erase that entire heel run, I honestly wouldn't take it because
no.
at the end of the day, I'm glad that they tried because otherwise we would always be hit with that
What
question
if?
in the back of our minds, like, yeah, what if? What if they did pull the trigger and do the heel run? So I'm glad we got it. We know how they were going to use him as a heel. It's done. It's behind us. Like it is what it is. Now, share with us if you had the pencil, if you had that creative control, how would you using the heel turn exactly as it was and laying out the rest of the year, how would you book John Cena's retirement tour?
That's tough, man. That's tough because there's always like a lot of dream matches. Obviously, like I would keep. the Cody Rhodes bit, because obviously, you know, at the time, Cody Rhodes, face of the company, right? Like he's, you know, guy number one. You see him on the, you know, the back of the back of the tour buses. You see him on the promo sheets. You see him on everything. Like that to me was magic. Um, you're gonna pull this shit.
That's what Cole said when he turned.
I think what they did, you know, with the CM Punk thing, I maybe would have done it a little bit further along. Um, because obviously with CM Punk, it was just, you know, I don't know if you remember it, like all they did with like Money in the Bank and stuff back in the day. Like even if like, you know, I like if I fast forward to the, you know, the end of the year and John Cena was still a heel, I would have loved him and Punk to finish it off. You know what I mean? And then, you know, obviously CM Punk coming in as the face, right? John Cena back then, and then, you know, um John Cena beating the crap out of you know, Punk, winning, and then just giving him the chef's kiss and getting the fuck out of Boston. That to me would have been like an epic, like cherry on top kind of moment, right?
Hmm.
But you know, if we're talking about in between, I mean, there's plenty of other superstars he could have faced. You know, maybe I would have given a bit more time to the R-Truth thing, right? Because obviously you see R-Truth as like, you know, R-Truth has always been like, oh yeah, John Cena's my childhood hero. Obviously the guy's like, you know, 20 years older than John Cena.
Be
You know what I
nice.
mean?
Be
But
nice now. He's not that much older,
no,
but
he's not that old. He's not that old, but he still got it. You know, he's still
yeah.
got it. That guy's never gonna give it up, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Um, you know, would I have loved to have seen him face maybe somebody like Daniel Bryan again? Absolutely. You know, that their stuff was always magic, in my opinion. He was just one of the people who always brought out the best in John Cena. Having him, you know, obviously that big yes movement and stuff like that coming back. Um, you know, I think that would have been some magical moments. John putting the kibosh on the yes movement once again. You know, just little things like that, right? I think would have came in. I think would have added to his heel run. You know, um, let me think. You know, AJ Styles, same thing. Him facing AJ Styles and stuff like that too. I really wanted to face AJ. That would have been again magic. And then like if we're talking about past opponents, if I could see it again, man, oh, Edge, yes, yes. You know, I'm still kind of hoping because his AEW contract is ending, I think, pretty soon. So I'm kind of hoping Edge just sneaks back over to WWE and does one last little thing with John.
Yeah.
Um, but again, going back to the heel thing, I think, you know, obviously, I think Edge would have been it, and then, well, I just lost the train of thought. Um, The Edge thing distracted me. The Edge thing distracted me. I had it on the tip of my tongue. I'm thinking. I said
You
Daniel Bryan.
mentioned
I said
putting the
AJ.
kibosh on the yes movement with Daniel Bryan.
Yes, 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 yes. Um, I was thinking Edge, CM Punk. Yeah, I lost it.
AJ
Damn it.
Styles.
AJ Styles. Um, I'm thinking. There was one other person I had on the tip of my tongue. I just can't. I can't. It's just escaping me right now. Damn it! It's just,
Chris Jericho?
that would have been good, but you know, Chris Jericho has always been heely. So like heel and heel, never really like went like
Hmm.
I don't ever remember him and John ever really going at it. I don't know if you do.
Oh yeah, very early into him going getting drafted to Raw. Jericho was one of his first rivalries when he got drafted to the Raw brand as the world champion at the time. X is suggesting RVD, man.
Oh, I remember Kurt Angle.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Kurt Angle. Oh, like I don't know if you know this, but like it was said all over the dirt sheets back in the day, like when obviously Kurt Angle obviously had to retire against what is it, Baron Corbin. He wanted to face John Cena in his retirement match. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
If any of you remember that, but Vince
And Vince
McMahon
said no.
just kiboshed it. Like it would have just, man, just seeing like you see just like, you know, peak Kurt Angle against John Cena would have just been oof, because they had some magic, man. They
Yep.
had some. they had some magic. And like, again, John Cena could bring out the best in pretty much everybody, but him and Kurt Angle had some
Bangers.
and Sheamus said banger after banger after banger. It's just like,
Yep.
oof, so good, man. If I could see something like that, or maybe even bringing back The Rock again. Obviously, like they had those year-long rivalries, right? As long as The Rock could get the ring roast off like he should, then I'm all for it. But I think there's a lot of different things that could have just added to his run. Because John Cena is always good on the mic. He's always solid. Like you can't name, like there's probably maybe he's what, top 5 of all time, like greatest talkers on the mic. Obviously, you got
Ooh,
people
that's
like Paul Heyman,
top
The
5.
Miz,
That's a hot take
right?
right there.
I don't know, man. I think so. He's up there because he could just bring out the best in people. Like when he's talking, like even back in the day, when he was feuding with Roman Reigns back in the day, he put Roman Reigns in his place. You remember
Hmm.
that? Learn to cut a promo, kid. Like,
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
I think he's up there, man. He's up there. He could just bring out the best in people and piss people off.
That same interaction with him and Big Dog Roman Reigns,
Oh,
uh,
I hated Big Dog Roman Reigns.
where
Oh,
where 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 he says to him, I can do this better part time. I can do
yep,
this part time better than you can ever do it full time.
yep, yep, yep,
Like,
yep.
oh my god! Like, watching that, I was like, dude, he in that one line, he absolutely buried you. He just burned you
Just,
up right
just,
there.
just like Roman Reigns could have disappeared, and we would have never heard from him again. And I'd been like, Roman Reigns, who? Obviously not. Tribal chief. Right? You know.
Mitch, thank you. Yes, guys, hit the like button, please. I would appreciate all that kind of support. Thank you so much, Mitch. Oh man. So again, moving forward, you have the pencil, right? It's December. Cena's last match. Who is it? Who is it with?
I'm gonna go back to my earlier statement. CM Punk. That's
CM
CM Punk.
Punk.
I would have went CM Punk. I don't know. Again, I just find it like so surreal, or like again, it's just a full, you know, round the circle. Again, thinking back to that Money in the Bank match back in the day, right? Um, where he beats John Cena for the title and walks out of WWE. You know, I just think that would have been a perfect moment for John Cena to pretty much do the same thing, but it actually be permanent. You know,
CM
I, I
Punk.
I think, I don't know, maybe not a lot of people would agree with me, but I just think it would have just been, I think that would have been a really cool moment. I mean, would I like to see him face like a younger guy? Maybe, right? Maybe put somebody over, but I'm old school. I love guys like Punk, and I think it would have just boosted him even more.
Mhm.
But again, if I had to put in a final choice, or even like a second best, maybe somebody like LA Knight to like launch him into the stratosphere. Maybe something like that. Oh yeah, Austin Theory. That WrestleMania match and him and Austin Theory was absolutely abysmal, and I hated it. I hated every second.
Mm. And a match like that, and Theory went over on Cena. You would think that that would have like a huge effect on his career afterwards, but it really didn't.
No, it did not, and it's like you look at him, and he was Vince McMahon's poster boy. Like, remember, I don't know if you remember, but a lot of people vaguely forget. Like, he won Money in the Bank and then he lost it
Yep,
on a random. I think he was fighting for. I think he tried to cash in on the United States Championship or some shit like that. I don't remember,
he
but like
did.
it was just so unmemorable. It's like when Otis won the Money in the Bank thing. Like, come on, he dropped it to the Miz. Like, come on,
Yeah,
you know.
that
And
happened.
it did happen, but I'm like, you would think that again, you facing John Cena would just launch you, but it didn't. It just, I don't know. He just doesn't have it. He just doesn't have it. I don't think he has it.
So going back to something you mentioned before, you mentioned WWE Unreal,
Right.
and I've in my previous episodes of Hot Takes and Headlocks, WWE Unreal has come up here and there, and there are people that are that are psyched for the show. They're for the show. They're for taking the biggest peek behind the curtain than ever before. But then you also have that really old school mindset where it's like we don't need to see how everything works backstage. We don't need to see uh how the magic tricks, if you want to call it that,
Right.
how the magic tricks are done, how they're made.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, where do you fall in line with that, with WWE Unreal?
Well, obviously maybe when I was a kid, right, I'd probably be like, oh, absolutely not. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, it would just ruin the magic for me, But obviously now, I'm in my 30s, and obviously I've been a lifelong fan at this point. I'm all for it. I think it's nice to get a peek behind the scenes, how it's made kind of thing. Um, how it's made kind of thing, I think would be.
One of two matches: one with Dirty
uh
Dom to pass the torch, or Cena in the middle of the ring with no opponent, and then Edge's music hits.
you know
After the
what?
match, Cena says
I
thank
like
you,
that.
and then
I
The
like
Rock
that.
comes.
I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that.
Tell him only the final boss decides when Cena leaves.
God
Ooh,
damn, X. Just throwing out that straight fire right there with that one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
I like that.
I'm excited for when you have him on. You ask him this question. Like,
We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk. X, check out the email underneath my my Twitter handle. Email me there because I don't have my old work phone anymore, so I don't have your contact info. But yeah, hit me up there, and then we'll see if we can schedule you for a future show. But yeah, so
uh,
you were saying
yeah,
WWE Unreal.
yeah, yeah. Just going back to like Unreal. I'm all for it. Like, obviously, I watched the whole thing. Like, I pretty much watched it in like a day or so. Like, I sat home and I sat down and watched it. I think it was just such a interesting thing, right? To see how people like Chelsea Green get their matches and things like that, right? All the things they have to go through, waiting for that phone call, you know, um, or just seeing what happens behind the scenes, like even those little glimpses into the writer's room where they're just spitballing ideas left and right. Like, you see like how everybody thought that it was going to be Punk who was going to win the Rumble that year, right? And then all of a sudden it just changed to Jey Uso, right? Obviously, during the Rumble, like Jey Uso was, he was just shooting straight up, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, but I just think it was just interesting to see, your again your heroes, right, into how everything gets made into that, how a show comes together, seeing like how time constraints go into the show, right? How the referees like, go into, you know, trying to, what is it, like kind of direct the match right there, you know what I mean? Into where it's supposed to go, right? Um, I always found it interesting, right? I never really thought of it like that. Obviously, everybody's seen it, like where you see like the wrestlers holding each other like this, neck to neck. They're kind of speaking to each other. Hey, I'm gonna toss you this way. I'm gonna toss you that way, right? Everybody's seen that, right? But it's just interesting to see like how these big spots happen, right? Or if you've seen it, obviously Rhea Ripley, like seeing how nervous she was right before every single match. And Rhea Ripley's hotter than hot, she's never, she's mommy, right? Mommy. um, and just seeing how nervous she got, her just talking about some of the moves that she has to do, and I'm just like, oh, this is, it's again, it's not just sometimes these things just go freestyle. It's just some things take some planning. So I enjoyed um watching how everything developed, and obviously I'm definitely looking forward to more. Um, I'm assuming probably by next year they're going to go into maybe probably the end of John Cena's run and seeing how that come together, or maybe even seeing how SummerSlam came together, right? With maybe Brock Lesnar coming up. I'm sure that's going to be interesting seeing how those phone calls went, because obviously we got to see how Cena's heel run came together, right? With the conversation between The Rock, Travis Scott, John, Triple H, and shout out to Triple H for doing a phenomenal job, and everything that he's doing, um, but I just, I love seeing stuff like that. And again, you just get to see people or some of the wrestlers you don't normally see. Again, Chelsea Green, that you don't normally, they don't, that aren't promoted as often as they should be, getting their time to lay and seeing how things come together. So I enjoyed it. I don't know how you feel about it, but like I enjoy it. I'm looking forward to seeing more. Like I understand other people's point of view about keeping things hidden, but it's the Netflix era, right? How Triple H calls this the Netflix era. Things are gonna come out, man.
Yeah.
We've all grown up seeing how things are made, like the old Discovery Channel show, how it's made. You know, like eventually something was gonna happen. So they gotta profit off it somehow. Like I get it. Like you see the advertisements in the ring, Prime, you know, all of the Real American Beer, Fortnite, all that stuff. Like it's bound to happen eventually. You know, it's a
A-
way to promote the product more, and it just gets more people interested. And I think it's just going to create a bigger fan base for WWE in the long run.
As a fan, what I watch on my TV screen or whatever I see when I'm sitting at a live event, I appreciate everything that I'm taking in, the glamour, the characters, the story. Now, when I watch WWE Unreal, I see the job side of it. I see the part of the glamour that is the job for these guys that go out and perform in the middle of that ring, or the job part for those that work in creative.
Right.
And and to see the job part of the glitz and glamour that I see from my TV, like the WWE Unreal makes me appreciate it from that side of it. It makes me appreciate what I'm watching even more, just from a different perspective of it. That's why, from my personal opinion, I'm very happy to see a product like WWE come out, so that I could take in WWE from this side of the lens. And I completely understand, and I see the point that others make, where that side of the shows should stay behind the curtain. We shouldn't be seeing people that are feuding with one another be super friendly with each other backstage after a match and whatever. I get it, kayfabe, right, and everything like that. I understand, but just the job part of it, what goes into a creative meeting, or seeing something get called on the fly and Triple H direct the Cena heel turn
Yeah.
in real time. I took so much from that episode
Oh
than
yeah.
all the others.
Yeah. That was definitely interesting to see, like how he just didn't tell anybody, right? And like there was only like 5 or 6 people that knew, and then like even seeing the guy in the camera truck, right, just being like, uh yeah, I'm just gonna direct you in what to do. And he's like, go to this camera, go to this camera, go to this camera. And I'm like, shit, that's crazy. Like you see like how much effort Triple H puts into this. And honestly, the whole thing made me respect him even more. You know what I mean? Just to see what goes through his head. So um I'm definitely all for it. I'm looking forward to more. And obviously, again, with that being on Netflix, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of similar things coming out pretty soon.
No doubt, no doubt. So next question. Um, it's it's very easy, and I see it all the time with the IWC. Talking about this creative sucks. This should have been done this way. I hear it all the time, every day, right? So flipping the script for a second, instead of talking about what's not working with pro wrestling right now, uh, talk to me about the last thing you saw within the last week or two. Talk to me about the last creative that you saw in pro wrestling that you thought to yourself, wow, that was good. That was a good call. I like that.
Um, if obviously we can all think of a negative thing, but if I'm looking at something in in a positive light, like creative wise, Dirty Dom, man,
Mm.
what they're doing with Dirty Dom, like obviously seeing him in Triple Mania, and seeing what's going on with him, trying to go after obviously the AAA Mega Championship, right, in Mexico. One of my really good friends, actually, sorry, one of my best friends went to Mexico City and saw Triple Mania live, so he saw that stuff live, and it was incredible. Um, but seeing what they're doing with Dirty Dom and how obviously he's coming head to head with AJ Styles, right, and all the stuff he's doing with like the Judgment Day. and like, you know, Finn Balor wondering what the fuck is going on, you know. Um, and obviously, I know you've seen it. Finn Balor's like the big instigator, you know. Obviously, you know, when Liv Morgan was still around and he was introduced, you know, he was introducing Roxanne Perez. You see him going like this, like what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's like, yeah, like I watch it the Magic happen. Like it's just
Yeah.
so cool. But I just love Dirty Dom as a character. And again, just seeing his growth and how he's becoming like somebody who can compete with Lucha Libre stars, you know, like his dad, like, and those guys do some crazy ass shit in the ring, and him being able to see him compete and, you know, doing everything that he's doing is just, again, just one of the really good things going on in creative right now. And I'm all for it. You know,
Mm.
just I love seeing him in the ring. And he's even really good on the mic, man. He could talk shit, and anybody tells you that they channel in his booze is lying to you because that is not true. Those shits are
Nope.
loud. They tone him down if anything.
I if like, dude, I've seen it live, man. The boos are legitimate. I don't know if people just I don't know if it's because people legitimately hate Dom, or it's just like he's one of those guys that you just love to hate. It's just something that you go do and boo Dirty Dom. But like there were times, especially during SummerSlam, the crowd was singing to Dirty Dom. They were going, Dirty, Dirty Dom, Dirty, Dirty Dom. He gets those too.
Yep. And I love that. Yeah, and I love that. And like obviously you see him at Mania winning that title, and then all of a sudden you see him run back down to the ring because Triple H told him to. Hey,
Yep.
go take in your moment a little more, man. Like it's just crazy to see this guy again, Rey Mysterio's son, come from partnering with his dad and everybody hating on him because he sucked, to now him being like, you know, one of the top guys right now. Like it's just absolutely insane. And the guy's only what, late 20s maybe? I think
Yeah.
mid to early late 20s.
And
Yeah, and
he
it's just
debuted in 2020. 5 years later,
yeah, yeah,
this is where he
yeah.
is.
It's just crazy, you know. I think what obviously really blew him up was obviously getting into the Judgment Day and dropping his dad. Like no offense to his dad, his dad's a legend, but dead weight when it came to, you know, Rey Mysterio's rise. And then like even going back to one of his earlier WrestleMania matches against his dad, his coming out as prison Dom and like in the handcuffs. Like I remember at being at X's house watching that with him, and I'm just like, holy shit, this is a really good fucking entrance. Like what the fuck?
I think like the for Dirty Dom, the story that we're gonna wind up seeing get told for him, his journey through WWE is gonna be one that is legendary, and I'm gonna tell you why. Dirty Dom's a 20-year vet. He's not lying there. He's
It's
not. That
not.
is true.
It's not.
That is true.
They did
But
fight over him once.
but the story of Dom, I say, is going to be legendary because this is a guy, if you want to look at it through my lens, who turned his back on his father, someone who is probably going to be the heir to the Rey Mysterio mask, but he turned
Right.
his back. He's going on his own journey of life with this bad company of people that has twisted his mind and everything. And then when that face turn happens and he either becomes a champion as a face or he embraces the luchador mask and he takes the Rey Mysterio mask on, and that's how he wrestles going forward. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be like what I compare it to, man. It's like off the top of my head, sort of like the Lion King.
I get you. I get you. Like raising him up like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
get it. It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
like I don't know, man. He's just one of those guys who's just a naturally good heel because obviously, you know, you remember him as a face with his dad.
yeah.
I don't know. I just wasn't a huge, again, it just didn't click with me. And like every time I saw him wrestle, I kind of just like was on my phone. But, you
Yeah.
know, even seeing him at SummerSlam, like him facing AJ Styles is just fucking magic to me.
Hmm.
And even AJ Styles has come out and said it's like dirty, like Dominic Mysterio. Like a lot of legends have come out to say it. I think Undertaker was one of them. Like a whole bunch of people. John Cena, even John Cena, even on that like I think one of those like after the show things, he was saying like how Dirty Dom was just like fucking amazing.
Yeah,
Like the aura on him, again, the aura on that kid is just crazy. It's just I don't know. Him as a heel right now, it's just I think it's too perfect. I mean, maybe eventually I'd like to see it, but right now he's just too hot. I don't know, but I
I
think
agree.
seeing that will be like a really really good moment. And then you even see him coming out now in luchador masks, right?
Yep.
Obviously, what he's doing with Grande Americano, putting that the metal plate in his forehead, like, and
Yep.
don't even get me started on Grande Americano. That guy is awesome. Ludwig Kaiser, allegedly, you know, like amazing.
Dude, I've heard it all, man. I heard that it's Chad Gable. I heard that it's Ludwig Kaiser. Uh,
Allegedly,
allegedly. We
yeah.
don't know. We don't
We
know.
all know. I think he has an actual Wikipedia page, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love the Grande Americano thing. I'm sad that Chad Gable is on the shelf right now because he's the one that initially was starting that that story, that storyline about trying to be able to take down the luchadors. He goes to Mexico and
Training.
he's getting information on the whole luchador culture and how to be able to defeat them, but we never really got that payoff for that.
No, we
Nick,
didn't.
what's up, man? What is up? Everybody hit that like button and support. Thank you, Nick. I really appreciate that. But yeah, that was my point on Chad Gable. You know, I'm hoping that we can pick up where we left off with that Chad Gable story.
I'm kind of looking forward to how him and Ludwig are gonna just come to blows because obviously Kaiser has taken this on his whole nother level because with how he speaks Spanish, even in Mexico, he got a huge ass pop in Mexico. Like it's crazy. Like him and Triple Mania is insane. I don't know. It's I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with it, and then wondering how they're gonna introduce these other two Grande Americanos, aka Butch and I think Tyler Bate.
Mm. I heard Pete Dunne, but again, allegedly.
Oh, Pete Dunne, yeah, allegedly. Can neither
John,
confirm nor deny.
John, I see the way you talk about pro wrestling, whether it's something from a long time ago or something that's current now. I don't see it, but I hear the way you speak about it, and it brings out passion for it, emotions. This thing that we love so much brings out so much emotions for us. It could be joyful, it could be sad, angry, whatever. So my next question for you is talk to me about a storyline or an angle that really got you emotionally.
Oh, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. I mean, there's been obviously so many moments, as long as I've been a fan that, have really like gotten to me, you know. Even going as far back as, when Shawn Michaels had to retire, right? Like even going like that far back or when Ric Flair had to retire, right? Obviously I was a lot younger by then, but if we're talking about, even something recent, um, thinking, man. I mean, I'm getting pretty emotional on this John Cena run. Like, again, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I cried at SummerSlam.
Okay.
Like at the end of that match, I kind of cried because it was just all the emotions in the air. Obviously, the excitement was in me, seeing Brock Lesnar and everything coming out, but just being there made me cry because I was just so happy. You know what I mean? And I know I, for one, want to be at John Cena's last match. So I'm legitimately 100% going up to Boston to see whatever his last match is going to be. If it's a Saturday night main event, kind of hope it isn't, but I think it is. Um, we'll be there, and I will cry. Like it's going to be one of those, seeing like your lifelong hero, like being, going away, taking off the jorts. Like it's a it's a surreal moment. But if we're looking about any particular storyline, uh, recently, I don't really think there's just been anything that's just really gotten to me recently that just made me like super super emotional. Obviously, there's been moments that's like excited me, I loved what they were doing with Killer Cross. Like that really got me excited. You
Mm.
know, he really came up over the top. You know, that's something else I could probably talk about for a bit because you know what they're doing with him now is kind of fucking dumb, in my opinion. But you know, I digress. Um, but there's just so many moments, you know, that just get me like hopped up, riled up, sad. Um, but anything in particular that's really got me like emotional enough to like really like, you know, cry or anything like that. Not recently. But again, I know there's things that are coming up that's gonna get me like,
No, of course. Yeah, no,
you
that's fair.
know.
For me, and this is just because it's recent, uh, finishing the story, WrestleMania
Yeah.
40.
Yeah.
That one got me. I can't bestow this title to the American Dream, but I can bestow it to my mother. I forget his mother's name, but
Yeah.
you know, that was a great moment that they got there after him versus Roman 2 at WrestleMania. Oh my gosh. Dude, the build. So I mentioned this on a previous episode, but as far as Cody and Roman Reigns go, I prefer the build for their first matchup together,
Oh,
WrestleMania 30.
1000%. 1000%. I thought it was again magic in the making. Did I like the ending of the match? No, but you know, obviously seeing how they led up to Mania for the rest of that year, like you saw things coming. You saw that Cody Rhodes was going to win the Rumble again, you know, and then but just seeing that last little bit of build up was nice. Um, the only other thing, oh yeah, Eddie Guerrero. I'm sorry, yeah, Eddie Guerrero will always make me cry. Like that guy's just magical. Wow. Um, I don't know, Jay Uso. Yeah, never really saw like it got me excited, but to the point of me getting like crying my eyes out. Nah, nah. Like I like him, but like he's gotten a lot better with the super kicks at least. You know.
Okay. I got to mention this because okay, so I know I said before I don't mind the behind the curtain peek and everything. It's cool and I appreciate it and that's true. But if there's one thing that I wish I could take back that I know now that I see every single time and I can't unsee it, it's it's the super kick. Okay? I never ever noticed before the thigh slap. Never.
Oh yes,
But
I
every
never
time
did
I
either.
see a super kick now, I always see the thigh slap, and it just takes the magic away from me. That's
Yeah,
one thing I wish I can unsee.
because I remember tuning up the band when I was younger. You know, and just seeing Shawn Michaels tune up that band, and I never noticed the thigh slap. But if I were to go watch it now, and again, he was really good at hiding it, but you see it, and it's just. I mean, supposedly they were supposed to stop doing it, but obviously even now you see it. So it's just like one
Yeah,
of those things where it's just like, it did kind of ruin it a bit for me. Um, and then just seeing everybody using it kind of pisses me off, man.
yeah,
You know, you see a guy like Dolph Ziggler using it, right? Obviously the Usos back when they were a tag team, like holy crap, or the WrestleMania match a few years ago. Oh my God,
yep,
like 50 super kicks in that one match from each of them. Like, oh my God, just so many things. So I kind of just felt like it's overused. Like even looking at AEW, a lot of those guys use it, and it's just like I don't know, it's a little overused for me. I think they toned it down a little bit, but obviously learning about that thigh slap, just yeah, I see where that ruins it.
yeah, man, yeah. So we're talking about how you've been watching this for 25 years, safe to
Yeah,
say?
yeah, 25 years. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you have 25 years of pro wrestling just instilled within you, right? You've consumed this for so long. Now, say tomorrow you are talking to somebody who's never seen pro wrestling before, and they ask you to recommend one match. One match. What is the match that you would recommend somebody who's never watched pro wrestling before to watch?
Now, are we talking about something more modern or just in any any capacity?
Dude, this is your match. So
Ooh, fuck.
anything. It could be the past. It could be the present. What is the match you would recommend someone to watch if they said, you know what, recommend me something to watch? I've never watched pro wrestling before, but I'll give it a shot.
All right. I could probably just say Cody and Reigns, but I'm going back a little bit here. WrestleMania 30, Daniel Bryan, Yes Movement, winning the WWE title at Mania in that triple threat.
Oh, okay. All right. Why that match?
It's just the energy in that match because you see Bryan coming out from earlier in the night, right? They showed a little clip of it, right? Of him beating Hunter, right? Him beating Hunter and then coming in battered and bruised into a triple threat match against, if I believe it was Batista and Randy Orton, right? You see him, oh yeah, Rock versus Stone Cold. That's also a good one.
But
I'm
which
just thinking,
one? X, which
oh, there
one?
was a few. There was a few. There was a few. um, but like seeing that happen and just the energy, like you see it in that crowd, like everybody's up. Like, yes, yes, yes. And I feel like to get somebody so engrossed into something, you need something to match that energy. And I feel like that was a really good match, especially looking at, more of the modern stuff. Like, whereas three guys at the top of their game, maybe Batista not so much at the time, but again, three guys, you know, doing what they do best and just seeing Daniel Bryan come out on top, you know, and him being probably again one of the best wrestlers in the world, pound for pound.
Yeah.
Um, just doing his thing is just it's just absolutely phenomenal. So if I had to do that, WrestleMania 30, Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, and Batista just obviously tearing the house down that night. Was I think that would be my match to show somebody um, why we love this, why
Mm.
I love this, why it brings out like the inner child in me, why these surreal moments live with me, right? I can have an hour to 2 hour conversation with somebody about wrestling. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with X going down the rabbit hole for like 30 minutes, an hour, or whatever, just bullshitting, shooting the shit, talking about wrestling. I meet a new wrestling fan, I'm like, oh hey, what's up? Like, how you doing? Let's
Yeah.
talk, let's chat. So it's just one of those things where it's just like you need something to keep that energy, and I think that's one of the best matches I could pick for that.
That's awesome, man. I love that
Yeah,
answer. All
yeah.
right. All right. Here's a tough one.
Okay.
Which one, in your opinion, would you say uh, took the wrestling world by storm more? Would it be the Yes Movement or
Ooh,
Kofi Mania?
the Yes Movement.
Yeah. Oh, wow. You didn't even
Yeah.
flinch with that one.
Nah, like I like Kofi Kingston, but let's be honest here, right? Um, Kofi deserved it, yes, but to be fair, that was gonna go to what's his face? You know who I'm talking about, the Mustafa Ali. If Mustafa Ali didn't get injured, that moment would have went to him, and his career probably would have hit different heights
Mm,
because it was all gearing up for him. I don't know if you remember that whole year, leading up to that match. It was Mustafa Ali was getting a shot to the moon, I think, because he was just super hot right there. Like he was coming up as an underdog. Everything I think everything was leading up to that, and then not for nothing, Kofi Mania, was great, but the Yes Movement was just on a whole nother level. Like you saw what they did. They changed their plans. Dave Batista even came out and said it, like he was supposed to win the title. But obviously they changed their plans because of how hot, like they hijacked Raw with the Yes Movement, man. And that was legitimate, right? That was pretty much legitimate. Like they just wouldn't shut the fuck up. They were just yes, 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 yes. Like during a bunch of segments, I don't remember who was in the segments, but you just hear them chanting Daniel Bryan when he's out in the middle of the ring with all these WWE superstars with what was it, the Authority at the time, the Authority out in the ring shooting the shit, doing this promo, and you just see everybody shouting for Daniel fucking Bryan, right? Like I think the only thing he was supposed to do that Mania was face Triple H, but then they just did this, and I don't really think again I would put this against Cody Rhodes finishing the story anytime. That Daniel Bryan Yes Movement was just something you're like you can't make that. You can't just say all of a sudden this is what I want to do. You can't give anybody that kind of star power at the time that year Daniel Bryan has, because mind you, back in the day, Vince McMahon was all about these big guys. That's what do you think he's so hot and heavy on, like, guys as big as The Undertaker, guys as big as Omos, or any of these other guys he's tried to put over, and none of them took it. But then you got a smaller guy like Daniel Bryan getting all this fucking pop, getting this pop, like, and he's fucking hilarious, man. You saw what he did with Team Hell No and Kane. That was amazing. That's still one of my
Yeah,
favorite times in wrestling. But then that
absolutely.
yes movement was just magic, man. And Kofi Mania just didn't even come close to it, in my opinion. Like, it was okay. Like, don't get me wrong, it was okay, and I'm happy that Kofi got that, because he deserved the title. And did I think it maybe needed to be happen at Mania? No. You know, I mean, and the fact that it was against Daniel Bryan during his like environmentalist era, which was a little lackluster for me, because they tried to make him a heel, which he wasn't always like the best at. Um, Although it was really funny when he was in that one elimination chamber match against was it Santino Marella? Did you see the Cobra come out?
Yeah.
Sorry. But no, it's just one of those things where it's just like that yes movement is just magic. You can't fabricate it, and it got over so fast, right? It was just you'll never have that again. You know what I mean? And it's just I think he tries to relive it now, even when obviously he's Bryan Danielson in AEW. Um, but that magic is just something that you can't recreate. You can't fabricate that. You can't put somebody over like that ever. And I don't think anything can compare to that yes movement. I really don't think so. So yeah,
Well,
to answer your question, it doesn't
everyone
come
in the
close. Both
chat is
mediums.
agreeing with you, man.
Yeah,
Everyone digs that answer. They're choosing the yes movement over Kofi Mania. With respect to Kofi Mania, of course, that was amazing
of
as
course.
well. But yeah, the yes movement uh definitely got over the most. I think it just in Daniel Bryan's situation, it was like they were both organic, right?
Right.
None of those were planned. But in Daniel Bryan's case, like he was like he didn't fit that typical mold
Right.
that regime looked for at the time, especially coming up from the indies. Indie guys were not looked at as the guys
No.
that could be the next WrestleMania main eventer, right?
Yeah, they weren't the guys coming up from like OTW like John Cena did, Randy Orton did, Brock Lesnar. Obviously Batista came up from that, right? They weren't guys that came up from what was it? I'm sorry, it was OVW or something like that, I think at the time, right? OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling or whatever, like their developmental thing before NXT. Like they
Yes.
weren't guys that came up there. They were guys wrestling in gyms, wrestling in fields, festivals, things like that, right? Um, guys like obviously CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, that wasn't fitting the mold, right? You even had Daniel Bryan losing in the opening match of WrestleMania to Sheamus in 12 fucking seconds.
Yeah.
Was it funny? Yes. But obviously he came back with a vengeance a few years later, with the Yes movement. But no, you can't fit those. I think again, that movement changed the WWE for the better, in my opinion, because it made Vince McMahon see at the time what could happen if he just let things take off, right? Um, you know, Not for nothing, obviously putting aside his legal issues aside, Vince McMahon is obviously a genius. I think everybody can agree with that in terms of the wrestling business. Um, but I'm glad that he's gotten out when he did, because obviously he was forced out at this point, because I don't think he could keep up with the product that's going on right now. I just don't think he was as in tune with the fans that you know, of what's going on right now, in my opinion. I know, hot take if they want to say that, but I just, I would, I would have an agreement. I would have an argument with anybody about it, but I just think that's the case.
We got Jeffrey chiming in. Kofi Mania was a time when we wanted better for Kofi. Yes movement was a time when we hated the authority.
That's true. That's true. The Authority, I think, was around. It was around for a good amount of time, right? The Authority. Eventually, it kind of went on for a little long, and obviously, kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
But again, that yes movement. Oof, just can't. Oof, just gives me goosebumps. Like how the Rock says right here, just right here.
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah. Um, so you mentioned The Rock just now. I had another question, but I gotta ask you this because this can be a hot take depending on what side of the fence you are. At this point in time, is The Rock good for the wrestling business or bad for the wrestling business?
Ah, I mean, I think it really depends. Obviously, I think with his star power, obviously being obviously The Rock, going from just being a regular WWE superstar, going in random little Hollywood movies to being obviously the pretty much everybody in the entire world knowing who he is. Um, it is good for the business, but I don't think he should be involved in the creative side as much as obviously somebody like Triple H is, right? Obviously, with everything going on with TKO and even looking at the price, like again, this is probably another thing, another conversation you could have, like ticket prices, for example, right? With TKO, like those things are insane. But I think overall, he will be good for it as long as he doesn't try to step on too many toes. As long as he's trying to force his hand too much, like force himself into a story. You know what I mean? Like not saying that he maybe forced himself into the John Cena thing. I don't think he did. I think that was just something that came up. But I don't think I don't want him to force himself into something that he shouldn't be forced into, or force his opinion on, like somebody like Triple H who has you know um pretty much everything planned out. Like you saw it on Real, right? Where he's just like, as the day after Mania ends is the day I'm planning for the next one. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where it's just like I feel like he's good for the overall aspect of it, but I don't really feel like he needs to be involved in every little aspect, I think.
It feels like when they have something already planned out and The Rock comes in, and it's like because The Rock is in, we have to throw everything out the window and rethink
Right,
things here because we have to include The Rock in because The Rock has time for us now, or The Rock has a great idea, but everything has to get thrown out the window, right?
right,
Jeffrey says if he's going to be committed, stick around. That's all I ask. I
right.
think that's pretty fair.
I
But
think it is fair, but you look at everything that he's doing, man. He just doesn't have the time for it. Like you seen, like the guy gets up at 3 in the morning to start working out, and then he's out and about reading scripts, doing a movie, everything like that. Um, if what he was going to do with the DC universe, what he wants to do with WWE, then no, thank you. you know, but you know, um, I don't want everything to be dropped because The Rock is around. That's what I'm getting at. So I don't want something good to be burned because now they have to drop everything and rush to make it as something The Rock would want.
right. And we kind of saw that with WrestleMania 40.
Yeah.
Cody wins the Rumble, but then The Rock comes back and Cody just bows out of the main event. I'm gonna come after you, Roman Reigns, for that title, but not this time. And then The Rock just, in the moment, everybody was all about it. We're finally gonna be getting Roman versus Rock, but then not even 24 hours later, it's like we want Cody trending. We want
Now,
Cody was trending afterwards.
now my thing is like, I want to know, was that real, or like was it like legitimate, like that it was just going to be The Rock, like just inserting himself into that and it being The Rock and Reigns at Mania, or was it planned for this Cody thing to like you know now, because obviously everybody saw Cody bow out gracefully, just like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, take it. It is what it is.
yeah.
But then obviously him coming back and just being like, you don't get to choose for me. I want Reigns. It may be leading. I thought it was going to lead up into like some type of triple threat, but obviously it became. I don't know. It felt a little jumbled there. Because looking back on it and just like all of a sudden now they're friends again, him and Reigns, and like now they're. I thought it was going to be like a beef for like tribal power or something like that. Like who's the real tribal chief? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it didn't end up being that, obviously. I mean, for what it was, I thought it was good. Um, match wise. but I felt like there could have been a bunch of things differently. And again, it's just coming down to the Rock schedule. Just couldn't make it work to, I think, maybe how some others wanted it to work.
Right, right. No, well said. Well said. All right. Shifting gears for a second. So again, you've been watching for 25 years, committed wrestling fan for 25 years.
For the
Now,
most part.
okay. So what has kept you going after 25 years? I ask you that because you may have heard from other fans where I was watching really hard. I was watching committedly week after week during the Attitude Era. Then I fell off for a few years,
Yep.
and now I'm back into it, right? So you have your fans that fall off for a little bit, but it sounds like you've been on it nonstop for 25 years. So going back to the question, what keeps your fandom for pro wrestling going after so long?
I mean, I wouldn't be honest if I didn't say there was times where like I maybe didn't fall off for like a little while, but I've always been a fan. I've always kept up with it, whether it be like, through social media, through YouTube, um, obviously rewatching a little bit of everything. Um, but for me overall, what just kept me going is just, man, it's just something I grew up with, and it's just something I've always come back to. I always found it to be a good escape. You know what I mean? From reality, right? Whether it might be that I'm going through something, right? Or, maybe I'm having a shit day. You know what? Let me watch Raw. Let me get back into it. Let me watch SmackDown, right? Let me watch this pay-per-view, right? It gives me something, again, even in my darker times, right, to look forward to. You know what I mean? And I think throughout everything, even the shit times, in those middle 2000s, where everything was to those early 2000, not early 2000s, like the 2010s,
Yeah,
those weren't the best wrestling times, but I think it just always gave me something to look forward to. And it just kept me going. You know what I mean? I mean, could I say that during that time that I watched week after week after week after week? No, I can't tell you that, but I knew that if I ever needed it, I had wrestling. I had that. You know, um, I know for me, even during COVID, being able to watch wrestling was a big escape for me. Yeah, XPG era was pretty shitty. But like, not having anything to do, obviously, I think everybody can agree with me, like not having anything to do during COVID, which is absolutely shitty, for a lot of people. But being able to have the escape of watching SmackDown, Raw, even if they were doing it in the Performance Center, was good for me. You know what I mean? And I think it just kept me going. And I think it kept a lot of people going because I think the product took a different turn at the time, obviously in the Thunderdome, right? Um, like I was one of those fans out in the digital crowd, like, woo,
did you make
uh,
it onto the digital crowd?
I did for one, I think it was for one Raw. I was on it and I was like,
Oh,
oh shit, I'm here.
wow.
Yeah, it was dope. I tried looking for myself in the crowd once. I couldn't find myself. So it is what it is. Um, but I just think again, just having that to look forward to, having that escape from reality for those, not like those 2 hours, was just something just always kept me going. It's just never made me want to stop. And then even meeting fans out, I'll be honest, like X, for example, right? X, right now is one of my best friends. Love the dude. Me and him became closer as friends because we shoot the shit with wrestling all the time. You know, like we could literally like not talk for days, and I'll just send him random shit about wrestling, and we'll just go off, right? And we'll just start going off on a tangent about this, that, and the third, and it's just being able to make friends like that is just it's so surreal. And like wrestling did that for me, you know, like
Yeah.
being able to be on this podcast, same thing. Wrestling did this for me, right? Meeting somebody else, seeing them wear John Cena shirt or an Austin 316 shirt, it's like, oh, what's up, bro? you know,
Yeah,
and we're able
yeah,
to talk to shit, right? Going to a live event, anything like that, or SummerSlam, where I'm able to just to talk to random people. No, like malice behind it, but I'm able to talk shit with this guy about the shirt that he's fucking wearing, or just anything, and I could have like a 20-30 minute conversation with the guy and like nothing. You know what I mean? I think this is one of those things. Wrestling is one of those things that brings people together. And there's just nothing else like it, regardless of the good times, the bad times. That PG era. Like it's something that brings people together and keeps you talking. And that's what it was for me. that's what it is for me. It's my escape from reality. It's something that I always have to look forward to. Whether it be a good day or a bad day, it's just something I have to look forward to.
Jeffrey also made it onto the SmackDown digital audience.
Oh,
So
that's nice, dude.
I wish I knew how you went about to do that. They never really advertise how you can be part of the digital audience. Otherwise, I would have tried to do it.
It
But
was something you had to sign up for, I believe, to like email. Like you had to go onto the like website and sign up for like the Thunderdome thing, and that's how I did it. Um, but it was just it was just it was a really cool experience.
yeah.
Um, so I enjoyed it. Although it was funny seeing certain people in the crowd. I don't know if you caught it. There was a couple times there was a couple Chris Benoit's in the crowd.
Oh my God. The audience, there were times where the audience took advantage of being able to be displayed on screen, and you would see
Oh, and
some
there was
questionable.
some there was some very questionable things where I think they
Yeah.
edited that later on. It's pretty funny.
Oh my gosh, man. Oh man. Yeah. No, especially, and you mentioned COVID and the Thunderdome. They really, during that time, like that was a time more than ever that I depended on WWE, pro wrestling in general, to escape the pandemic that was going on,
Right.
not being able to leave your house, wearing masks. It was just it was such a downer. uh Life was such a downer in those times, right? But to have pro wrestling still there every week, as if nothing had changed, was really great. And it forced them to be creative. It forced them
Yes.
to really switch gears and you know be creative week to week. Like one of the most creative things that I recall from the pandemic era, Money in the Bank. When the
I
hell would
love
we
that.
have ever gotten a Money in the Bank
I
taking
love
place
that.
from the bottom floor, and you got to go all the way to the roof of of Titan Towers?
Yeah,
Never.
yeah. And then you
And
see like AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan in Vince McMahon's office. Like, what the
yeah.
fuck? Like, they're in Vince's office. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
And then what like I did not have Rey Mysterio getting thrown off the roof of Titan Towers on my bingo card that night, but it happened. It
no, man,
happened.
it changed things up, man, and I think it did so for the better. I mean, you look at something like Firefly Funhouse, R.I.P. Bray Wyatt. Again, something else that made me cry. Bray Wyatt, like
Yeah.
magic. But seeing something like that happen, right? Or you think about this now, right? Let's think about this. Without
Hell yeah,
COVID,
Jeffrey,
right?
that was
Mind you,
creative.
Roman Reigns left, right? He took a break because, obviously he dealt with I think it was Lyme disease or something like that that he had to deal with, or something like that. I don't remember, but it was something where he
Leukemia,
couldn't
wasn't
be
it?
around. Huh?
It was leukemia.
Oh, sorry, leukemia. I don't know why I said Lyme disease. Yeah, it was leukemia, right? So he stayed away from people, right? He was still like in his kind of big dog era, right? This brought on, anybody can correct me on this, but this was something that brought on the tribal chief.
Definitely.
This
Yeah.
made him come out um against Bray Wyatt and stuff like that. And I think it was Bray Wyatt and was it Braun Strowman, I think at the time, having that match, and him coming out like wreck everybody and leave with
Yep.
Paul fucking Heyman,
Yep.
right? And that brought on the tribal chief. I think without the COVID era happening, we would never have the tribal chief because it gave them time to go back to the drawing board because week after week after week they tried to stuff Roman Reigns down our throats and fans weren't having it, right? It, Vince McMahon just tried to force him down our throats, but fans weren't having it. And I think a lot of people can agree with me. People just really didn't like the guy at the time. He wasn't charismatic. He wasn't, good on the mic, but obviously he came back with a fucking vengeance. And now look at him. Acknowledge me, man. I do acknowledge my tribal chief, right? I think without that, he came back, and I think without all that creativeness that was happening at the time, we would not have the tribal chief.
Damn
We wouldn't
straight.
have a bloodline, and that storyline that went on forever. The bloodline. Although it was really good, but still,
The tribal chief character, the menacing tribal chief character, was so good.
oh yeah,
And I this is the way I like to think about it this way. I feel like somebody was watching one of the old Christopher Reeve Superman movies at one
Yeah.
point. They were like, "Oh, let's take this and give it to Roman Reigns, but we'll spin it." And that part that I'm talking about is General Zod telling people kneel before Zod, right?
Right.
But he tells people acknowledge me.
Acknowledge me. Right. And man, it just made for great entertainment. Like again, wrestling entertainment. It just made for great entertainment. Like you see somebody like Jey Uso at the time, right? He was just you always thought of him as a tag team.
I prefer to just pretend they're not there,
To be
Jeffrey.
fair,
Yeah,
they were pretty bad. I mean, again, it looks a lot better now. Let's just say that.
yeah,
I'm just gonna end
yeah.
it with that. It looks a lot better. Um, but you go back and you look at the early hours of the tribal chief and him building his bloodline, right? Jey Uso, right? Jey Uso blew up because of that, right? Obviously, the comedic gold, and I say this, the comedic gold that we got with Sami Zayn and and him joining the bloodline, like totally revitalized his career, right? You know, like one of the funniest moments I remember is obviously him and Jey Uso getting into it in front of Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns is like, the tribe. I mean, and he's like, I want peace, and then Sami saying the tribal chief wants peace. I'm just trying to make peace, and you see Jey Uso just like, I don't give a damn what the tribal chief says, and then you just see Roman Reigns like again, he just has his face down like this. He's like, and you just see that moment happening, and you're just like, holy shit! Like again, you just see like how good Roman Reigns is, and then obviously, he's such a serious moment, and then you see Sami Zayn coming in his defense. He just, he just wasn't feeling very oozy, and then you just see Roman Reigns and everybody just trying to hold the. Oh, again, Sami Zayn, love him for this. Just like hilariously, like just he made the guy crack. Like, come on, like couldn't stop laughing. Like Uzi, is that what it is? Uzi, like again, you wouldn't get moments like that without, I think, that COVID era happening,
Yeah.
and then like all that stuff happening. Like I think it just
Yes.
wouldn't have came together like it did, because I think it just would have continued to be week after week after week of Vince or whoever trying to stuff them down our throats. Um, so I think a lot of that was needed, and gave us to what we have today in the Netflix era. So, I just I look back at moments like that. It just makes me laugh. It makes me happy if I'm scrolling through my phone and I see all of a sudden, even if I've watched it a million times, I'll be like, let me watch this again. Kind
Yeah.
of thing. Like, it's just so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it, man. Yeah. That was such a good time.
Yeah.
And that menacing version of the tribal chief, I miss him till this day. I'm
Yep.
happy to see Roman getting over as a face the way the company always wanted, but there's just something about that version of the tribal chief back then that I don't know if we're ever going to get back,
No,
but
man.
man, what a time. What a
Yeah,
time in
and then
wrestling. Those 4 or 5 years it was.
and then him having Paul Heyman, right?
Yeah.
Again, one of the probably greatest of all time managers, like fight me, like go, like there's nobody will ever come close. Paul Heyman, right? Um, just having those promos, I don't know, the greatest of all time, like like the ultimate needle movement, everything he said, and you just like, just that aura coming off of Reigns, then like, oh man, it's just magic. Again, one of the things you can't force, that just happens because
Yep.
of all the right pieces coming into place. You know what I mean? Even no matter how pissed you were, like watching a match, and all of a sudden you see one member of the bloodline coming out to bail Roman Reigns out,
Yeah.
because like it is what it is. Like a lot of people just get pissed, but me, I'm just like, that's Reigns, bro. Wreck everybody and leave. That's it.
Facts. Yeah. All right. We're gonna go a little bit of a rapid fire. All right.
Okay, okay.
All right. We can't. There's no way we can have a pro wrestling conversation and not get into Mount Rushmores. Okay. So
Ooh.
we're gonna talk Mount Rushmores now. So first, Mount Rushmore, I'm gonna ask of you is mic talkers, people on the mic. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of pro wrestlers on the mic? Go.
All right. So the Miz,
Okay.
I don't think anybody can argue with me about that. CM Punk,
Can't argue
like
that one.
pipe bomb. bro. Pipe bomb. Uh, maybe LA Knight in a couple of years. Maybe not. Maybe not my Mount Rushmore. But we definitely got Punk. We got The Miz. I'm still gonna come up and say it. Anybody else, whatever, argue with me, agree or disagree? John Cena,
Okay.
right? John Cena. That's three. So what are we doing? Four, top five.
4.
Four. Let me see. Now I gotta think of one more. I'm thinking here. I'm thinking about one of my all-time greatest promos. Obviously, I'm gonna go classic. Dusty Rhodes.
Ooh, all right. I did not see that one coming.
Dusty
All
Rhodes.
right.
Again, I'll just always think of those classic promos, hard times. Like I'll think of those classic promos. Like the dude is just, you see the charisma just coming off of him. And again, you see, even to this day, God rest his soul, of all the things he did for all those people in NXT, right? Obviously for his sons and everything like that to help them be who they are on the mic. I could have just said The Rock, and nobody would have disagreed with me because who can go against The Rock? But I had to pick Dusty Rhodes. I just think he just had much more of an impact to the younger generation of superstars than somebody like The Rock. And I think for my last pick, that's what it was. It's just who had more of an impact with helping today's generation. Again, he helped Roman Reigns become who he is too, if you think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
He helped some of the younger superstars in NXT. And I think for my Mount Rushmore, I think for my top four, that has to be it.
That's not a bad list, is what Jeffrey is saying, and
Thank
I
you.
can't disagree with you either. X so far has 3 as for talkers. So we've got The Rock,
Okay.
Cena, and Flair, and I think he's struggling with that final one,
I
we
know.
all
I know.
do, man.
I know. I know.
That
It's just
last one
picking.
is so hard every single time.
And, coming back to one of my first pick, The Miz, I don't know if you remember it. When Daniel Bryan was off with that, obviously, because he had that neck injury. I don't know if you remember Talking Smack.
Of course, I know
And,
exactly where you're going with this.
yeah,
Yes,
exactly. Him and Bryan just going at it. You can't beat that, dude. You can't
yeah,
beat that. Like, say whatever you want about the Miz, a hippie England performer or anything else, but the guy can fucking talk, man. The guy can talk. The Daniel Bryan thing, which I felt like could have blown up more than it did when he came back. It is what it is. Or if you look back a couple years ago, him and Shane McMahon, magic, right?
yep,
Especially with his dad coming out like this,
yep.
right? I felt like that match stole the show of WrestleMania that year. I thought it was really good. But I just gotta love the Miz, man. The guy can talk, man, and he's good at it. Can't.
Look,
Oh, Jericho.
he-
Jericho would have been also a good option for me.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you
He
just made
loves
the
that
list. You did
egotistical.
it. Say that before you said it. That if we're talking about Chris, that is my all-time favorite version of Chris Jericho. The Festival of Friendship. Now that was a roller
So
coaster.
good.
Him and Kevin Owens. Oh man, magic, magic. Like if Chris Jericho would have come back, I'd be happy with it. I'd be
Yeah,
happy with it. But I need him to bring back the list. That thing was just amazing.
yeah, yeah. All right. So next Mount Rushmore is your Mount Rushmore of WrestleManias. And what I mean by
So
WrestleMania is the WrestleMania show as a whole. So your top 4, your Mount Rushmore of WrestleManias.
so obviously I'm gonna come back to WrestleMania 30, right?
That's 1.
WrestleMania 30. Obviously, I'm gonna have to just I can't just not say the Yes Move and talk all this stuff about the Yes Move and not include WrestleMania 30. Uh, WrestleMania 40, right? Obviously with yeah, that was the one in Philly. Yes, WrestleMania 40.
Correct.
That yeah. Then we're going back in time, right? I believe it was Stone Cold and The Rock's last match, WrestleMania 17.
Stone Cold and The Rock's last match was WrestleMania 19.
19. Okay, that's what I meant. WrestleMania 19. You're testing my history here. And then let's see. The last one on my Mount Rushmore. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I'm gonna go back to when Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. I don't remember the number. I don't
That was
remember which
also
WrestleMania.
30.
Was that also 30?
That was also 30. The
That's another
night
reason
Brock
why I chose
Lesnar
30.
broke the streak. Yeah.
That was also the reason why I chose 30. Um, I'm gonna go back, to when what was it? I think it was 29 when it
Okay.
was The Rock and Cena.
Rock Cena too. Yeah.
Rock Cena too. I'm gonna give it to that one.
All
If I had
right.
to pick my top four, right? But
That's a beautiful Mount Rushmore right there of
I think
WrestleManias.
so. I think so. I think so. That the hype for that one, and even to this day, I still think of that music in the background with what Halsey and MGK. I'm just like, "This is in the air."
Yeah.
Like, I love that shit. It's so great. Just that lead up was good. Um, but that I think was a good list for me.
So X has been giving his Mount Rushmore of WrestleManias in the chat.
Oh, come on, X, come on. Let's see
All
him.
right.
Let's see him.
And you guys are aligned a little bit. Okay. So the first one, 30. Second one, 40. And you guys strayed away a little bit here. 18. And I think I know why for that one, X. Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. Icon
What
versus icon. And then his final one to round off his Mount Rushmore, WrestleMania 20.
was 20?
That one was the triple threat: Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit.
That was a good one. I also would have went with um when Eddie Guerrero won at Mania. I also would have went with that one. The number escapes me.
He also chimed in with WrestleMania 19. I don't know if that's an honorable mention or he was just chiming in to say that Stone Cold and The Rock last WrestleMania confrontation was 19. I think that's what that was for.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. All right. One more Mount Rushmore. All right. One more.
Let's
Top
go.
your this Mount Rushmore is GOAT superstars of all time. Now, I'll give you some context for this because you need criteria. So what I'm talking about is superstars that the business gave a lot to, superstardom, power, all that stuff. But also superstars that gave back to the business a great amount as well, whether it be whatever you want to call it, Make a Wish foundations or top merch or best storylines, like whatever you feel that criteria fits into.
John Cena. Yeah, I don't think anybody can not say that John Cena's not on that list, and he would be the front and foremost. He would be my George Washington right there, John Cena.
Ooh, okay, I like that.
Number one, obviously, you see what he does with Make a Wish and everything that he does, and he's always constantly talking about the business. Um, if I have to give another one, regardless of how anybody might feel about this, Hogan,
Yeah, okay.
right? Hogan obviously was wrestling in the 80s. Like he just was it. He's what brought wrestling on the map, right? Um, I think me and X are gonna agree a lot on this one, but Undertaker.
God. You guys, should we just bring X on here because you guys have the same answers?
It's
He's
just we're
got
similar. Again, we're similar in the mindset of this. You know what I mean? Like if I again, it's just the Undertaker is just like one of those guys. You see him on I don't watch it that much, but LFG, right?
yeah,
You see what he's doing for like the younger generation on there, right? Where
yeah.
he's taking he's taking these young potential WWE superstars and he's helping guide the next generation. And I love that. I love that, and it will always like put him on my list of Mount Rushmores. And then this is probably one where maybe X might not agree with me, right? I could say Roman Reigns, I could say somebody like that, but I'm gonna go with Dusty Rhodes.
Okay. I
Once
like
again,
that.
it's coming back to my original answer of him, the way he gave back, right? I don't want to say they gave him everything because they didn't, right? They didn't give him, the title opportunities and everything he deserved. Like, did he really win the title back in the day? Not more than I think a day or something, if I remember correctly. But It's just the way he gave back to wrestling as a whole. We'll put him on that list.
Well, here is Xavier's list: Roman, Cena, Hogan, and Undertaker.
That's a good list. You know, we agree with the first three, just a little difference of opinion with the fourth
Yeah,
one.
and
I'll
that's
take
okay.
that. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Jeffrey definitely agrees. Cena definitely number one. I
Thank you,
can't argue
Jeffrey.
with
Thank
that
you.
one.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
All right. So that's it for our Mount
Not much more.
Rushmores. Okay. Um we're rounding up 2 hours now. We're at an hour and 45 minutes. And I told you, man, we just
It's all
get
good,
into
man.
the weeds
I'm
on
all
this
for
show.
this. This is great for me. Like I'm having a phenomenal time. This is awesome for me. So I'm good.
That's great, man. Thank you for that. So as you know, we have two titles: the world title and the WWE Undisputed title. Now, we've had the world title for about 2 years. Now, at this point, I want to get your thoughts on this. Do you, in your opinion, would you say the world title is now on an equal level playing field as the undisputed title, or do you think they still have work to do with the world title?
I want to say that there still needs to be work done because it's always been, you know, kind of relegated to like the second title. You know what I mean? Like no matter what, everybody's always going to see that WWE title, right? And it goes back to Roman Reigns holding two titles, or even for a little bit, four titles, right? Um, that's still funny to me. But like, I don't know, man. You're always gonna, excuse me, you're always going to see that WWE title as the number one, right? And what they're doing right now with the world title, I think is good. I loved what they did at SummerSlam against Punk, you know, and Seth. I think that really elevated the title. Gunther is a champion. Shout out to Gunther. Like he was a phenomenal champion. He's one of those fighting champions who's amazing in the ring, can do a really great match with just about anybody. Um, but I don't know, man. I feel like there's just always something that's gonna be about that WWE title that's just gonna leave it standing just a little bit higher than that world heavyweight title. I don't think it. I don't know. I can never say never, but at least for right now, there's just really nothing that I can see them doing that's just gonna level it out. You know what
Do
I
you
mean?
think so? CM Punk won the world title at
Yeah.
SummerSlam, as we all know. Had he held on to it for longer, in the back of your mind, would you have thought of CM Punk as a secondary champion in comparison to the champion at the time, John Cena, Cody Rhodes? Would you have thought of him as a secondary champion, or do you think with his star power he would have been on an equal level to
And
the other champions?
yeah, I mean, in terms of his star power, yes, you know, because everybody knows CM Punk, everybody knows who he is. Everybody's obviously, you know, heard the pipe bombs and everything like that. But it's it's one of those things where no matter how you look at it, the WWE title is just always just right there. You know what I mean? And as much as I would love to be like they're on equal footing, it's just not like. And you know, again, what they did with that title, you know, to boost somebody like Jey Uso, right? Him running at Mania, great, right? Obviously, Gunther coming back in solid, you know, right? Did I really need to see that Goldberg match? Not really, you know. Um, but to have somebody like CM Punk coming in and winning it, and obviously if the whole Seth Rollins cash in didn't happen, um, could I foresee him being on the same levels as Cena and Rhodes in terms of star power? Yes, but in terms of just the way the title is weighed, right? Weighed against each other, I don't think it means as much. And I think at some point in time he's gonna be going after that WWE title.
Mm,
And to me it'll just mean that much more. I think it's
yeah,
just winning that WWE title is just something totally different than winning just the world title, you know?
I think that's well said. I agree with your points, and I do hope that before we see the end of CM Punk's run, that he has a run with the undisputed championship. Just because, like you said, it has just a little bit more weight to it than the world title does. And Jeffrey said the WWE title is the one that was always prestigious more than the world championship. I can say that because I'm a SmackDown guy from '04.
Fair enough.
That was before Batista was on SmackDown as the world champion. Yep,
That's true. That's true.
that's true. Very true. Um, but I can definitely I'll advocate for WWE. They're trying, man. They are trying to
They
make
are.
that title mean something, because if they weren't, they wouldn't have had Seth cash in on that title. You know,
Yeah.
they call that, or he called it, the workhorse title. And
You know what? I agree with that, and you know they're definitely putting in work on that. Although there's a few titles in WD right now that really need some work. You know, that's not the question, but yeah, I see where you're coming from.
mm, mm. um, no, in the past year, we have seen two new titles come to life in WWE, and now we're going to
Good
be
question.
talking about the women's division, right? The women's United States title and the women's Intercontinental title. Uh, I want to get your thoughts on how the booking is for those two titles, and in what direction, not in what direction, but which of those two titles do you feel WWE is really driving a bigger focus on?
The Intercontinental title for sure. Like you can see how much is going into it. Obviously, Lara Valkyria, phenomenal champion. Never gonna take that away from her. She was a great inaugural champion. You know, I was rooting for Dakota Kai while she was still in WWE, you know, but Lara Valkyria take it, she took it to a different level, right? And it took her to a different level too. And then obviously having Becky coming in, chef's kiss. Because obviously I didn't expect her to come back that quickly. Because I honestly thought she was going to be on a longer break than what from what was said online and everything like that. And if we're looking again, what X is saying, they're not really doing anything with the U.S. title. What they did with Chelsea Green was fucking phenomenal. Shout out to Chelsea Green if she ever watches this. Like, you're an amazing champion, no matter what anybody says. Like, she's great. She made it fun, right? But now you had Selena Vega win it, who held it for what, like a month, 2 months,
Yeah.
and then she dropped it to Julia. And where's this title been? Julia is a great in-ring performer. Like, I won't take that against her. I could put her up against Io Sky. Like, if you see that match, like, you'll probably be like, holy crap. But they're not really doing anything with that title, man. They're just not. It's just and it baffles my mind. Like, it wasn't even on the SummerSlam card. Like, what are they doing with that title? Like, that's like, why take SmackDown away from being 3 hours if you're not going to do anything with the women's US title over there? You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, and I feel like it's a disrespectful thing to do to somebody like Julia, who won this title on a SmackDown, no less, I believe, or was it at Evolution? I don't remember. But and for her to not have defended it, and to only doing video vignettes, it's just I don't know. I feel like it's just a slap in the face, because ever since Chelsea, because when Chelsea Green held it, I was all for it, man. Like, it was great. She was like, she went on a roll. She got her secret Hervis and everything like that. Like, I loved it. It made me tune in to watch it. But Selena winning it was nice, right? She deserved the title, and then now Julia, and I'm like, okay, I'm expecting some great matches, but nothing.
Nothing.
What are they doing with it? Like, come on. Like, you know, they boosted up the tag team division over there, which is great. But like, I mean, just you got to do something with this United States title, or if not, make it go away like they did the 24/7 title. That was funny.
Oh man, dude, we got to talk about 24/7
Yeah.
title moments since you brought it up. And guys in the chat, if you guys want to chime in with your own question for the black belt of black belts, Johnathan Ramos here, please feel free, man. Join in on the conversation.
And
Ask your questions too.
I,
But
I will say this: I'm sorry, I'm just gonna come on and say this. The number one moment for me is obviously R Truth, but Rockstar Spud and R Truth going after the 24/7 title. Obviously,
Oh
his
my
name
god.
wasn't Rockstar Spud, but in WWE, but that's how I know him as, so that's what I'm
Yeah,
going
yeah,
with.
yeah.
At the wedding was just chef's kiss. Sorry.
That's a good one, man. But I think back to two moments, dude. I think to uh the air. Actually, I think both of these were with Jinder Mahal, to be honest. But Jinder Mahal in the airplane and Jinder Mahal on the golf course. Because I mean, number one, it's on a golf course, but he's in his gear. He's in his gear on a golf course. What are you doing with your gear on a golf course on anyway? But
And you know what? Mind you, that just made me love that whole 24/7 title run. Just made me love R-Truth even more. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's just like, ah, man. If I could just, the airplane one, hilarious. Yes,
yeah,
yes, that was a good one. And I just loved like what they did with like the random little celebrities here and there winning the 24/7 title. I thought that was really
mm,
good.
yeah.
But I don't know, man. But just seeing like a few of those moments was just like coming out. Even the one time where R-Truth dressed up like a woman just to roll people up, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
just hilarious, man. It just oh, the hotel room.
Drake Maverick was his name. Drake Maverick.
Oh, that's what it was. Drake Maverick. Yes, yes.
Yes.
Just but like him holding up the sign, like looking for our truth, like or where's my title? It's what on search, like was just hilarious. And seeing him on TV every week, just coming up and you're like, have you seen him? Or seeing him coming out doing a random segment on Raw or SmackDown, them chasing our truth through the arena. It's just
Yeah.
always super funny to me.
Yeah. I think we all wanted something like the hardcore title to come back, but
Yeah,
instead the only element of the hardcore title that we got was the 24/7 aspect of it. Which it started off as, what is this? This is dumb, but I like over time, especially with our truth being a part of it, we all grew to
yeah.
love it.
I think it just made it more special because our truth is just naturally funny.
Yeah.
So it just made things it just made things even better, I think. So I personally thought like that was one of my favorite things. And but to be fair, it did go on a little too long, which is why they killed it off when they did, which I don't mind. But I did enjoy it for while it was around.
John, I got two more questions before we wrap this up. We are
Oh
rolling
yeah,
in
I know.
on the
I
2 hour mark.
oh goodness, I just realized.
I told you, man. But all right, so we're talking about our truth. Funny moments with our truth. What are some, you can name as many as you want, but what are some funny our truth moments that come to mind first for you?
I okay, so I think of one in particular right now. I think you're gonna get a kick out of this one, but I don't know if you remember. Um, this is maybe a couple years ago, and he made Brock Lesnar laugh on live TV, and this was funny. But he came out saying like, talking about the Rumble and everything like that, and he's saying like, "You're a big man, but you still gotta go over that rope." And he's looking at Brock Lesnar, and then all of a sudden he turns to Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman just start cracking the fuck up because I'm just like, yeah. And then you see Paul Heyman just like, and then you see Brock Lesnar just sitting over there, just cracking up, and then picks him up and tosses him for an F5. And I'm just like, bro, fucking love that man. He's so funny. And then I think another recent one was obviously when he was with the Judgment Day.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought this one up. Yes.
The Judgment Day moments were hilarious. And he's like, I don't think we should let JD in. Like this is a terrible idea. Like the random little moments they used to have where he just appears in the clubhouse, or
Yep.
like, or when they come out for matches, and then all of a sudden you just see R-Truth just coming out holding up his tag title, and I'm just like, this is gold. This is gold. You see the Miz is like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And they're like, or a couple times where they're having a match, and like you see R-Truth's like, you're not supposed to hit me that hard. It's not real. I'm supposed to fake it.
Jeffrey chimed in that him with the Paul Heyman segment you mentioned, that was a bet from Vince to see if he can make Brock laugh.
Oh, that's a losing bet to anybody. I can make everybody laugh. Or 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 when he was with the Judgment Day, when he came out with the Judgment Day shirts, and then
Yeah.
he crossed out JD's, or he crossed out somebody's name, I don't remember. But and he had R-Truth scribbled on right there. And then like they were pissed at him, but then all of a sudden he just started tossing money at people and he's like, "Oh."
Yes. Yes, man.
Or if we're going back in the day, obviously, there was a couple times where I think he came out in the Royal Rumble, and then like as he was coming out, he goes under the ring, picks up a ladder, and just tosses it in, climbs the ladder, goes up, puts his hands up like this, and it's just like, and then Kane just tosses him out of the ring, just like what the fuck? Or it's like talking about the couple times where he's like, he comes out talking about, oh, I had money in the bank, and he's like, and Kane's like, you're not even in the match. He's like, oh, my bad. I love that where he just gets tossed out by Nia Jax, or whose thing did he take? He took I don't remember her name, but he took somebody's place, and like he goes in the ring and then just like, hey, where's all the men?
Oh, he took Valhalla's spot.
Oh, Valhalla, yes, Valhalla. Yeah, he took Valhalla's spot. He's like, where's all the women? Then just subsequently gets tossed out of the ring.
He's running and he passes Valhalla looking at her like, what the heck is going on? What are you doing here? When in
Yeah.
fact is everyone looking at him saying, what are you doing here? This is the women's rumble.
Yeah, yeah, it was funny, and
Yes,
honestly,
Jeffrey,
yeah,
yes.
Sarah
Sarah
Logan,
Logan.
Sarah Logan, yeah,
Yes.
her OG name, or like obviously going back in time, seeing his little Jimmy skits,
Yeah.
or like the conversations he had with Triple H.
Yeah.
I think there was one time in a ring where like they were shooting a promo, and it's like Triple H is like, it's like you're crazy, right? Like you're hearing voices inside your head or seeing people that are not there, and then he's talking to like a pretend guy, and he's like, man, you crazy. Just like just little moments like that just always crack me up. Or like
Yeah.
so that's why I was like I felt really hurt. Again, that's another thing that I hated about like what they did to him a few months back, obviously when they released him. And then the wrestling community was like, what the fuck? Our Truth of all people? Like why? Like
Yeah.
he just had that match with like John Cena, which again I thought was really good. Him coming out with his John Cena shirt with his face on it, I just like was just amazing. But man, that our truth just
Ron
brings a
Cena
special
is
kind
what
of
he was
magic.
calling himself. Ron Cena.
Yeah, Ron Cena. Yeah. he
Oh
just he
man.
just he brings that little bit of comedic stuff extra, and it's
Yeah.
just so funny. He can make
Yeah.
magic with anybody. It's just so good. He can crack anybody, even Solo Sokoa.
I love it. And I don't care how many times it pops up in my video feed, even if it's over and over again. When I see a little reel of all the times he made all these guys break character,
Yeah, I'll just sit and watch it.
just watch it. Have I
One
seen this
thousand
before?
percent.
Yes, but I'm gonna watch it again anyway.
I'm gonna see it right now anyway.
Oh man, dude, there's so much more I want to talk to you about, and I think we're probably gonna have to do this one again at some point,
Hey,
just because
anytime, man. Let me know. But
this
I
was
think
so
you have
much
to have
fun.
X on first so I can go into the comments and troll them.
Oh, I love that. That's such a good idea. We'll definitely make it happen, X. Absolutely, if you're still in the chat. All right. So I like to save this question for last every time, just because it really just sums up the fandom for pro wrestling, because that's what this is all about. We're talking here about your fandom for pro wrestling. It sums it all up, because I like to think of our fandom for pro wrestling as being very layered, right? There's so many layers to this. So my question for you as we wrap up this conversation is, what have you learned from watching pro wrestling for over 25 years that you hold on to, and maybe it's something that you want to hold on to pass on to future first time fans of pro wrestling, or maybe future fans of your own family that you would want to pass on to? What have you learned from pro wrestling as a whole?
I mean, if we're looking at like as a whole, it's just, you know, obviously being older now and obviously realizing obviously this is something that's staged, right? It's a performance in in some forms. Um, it's just to always believe in that magic that that pro wrestling can be, and that like there's these moments obviously in some of the smaller stages like SmackDown or Raw, or obviously the bigger stages like SummerSlam or WrestleMania. It's just you have those moments. And again, this is obviously looking back at maybe when I was at SummerSlam last month, or like a couple weeks ago, but it, it's to always believe in that magic, and like it just nothing can compare to it, right? And how wrestling brings people together. You know what I mean? Like again, I could be next to a complete stranger by myself at a live event, and I could have a conversation with that guy. I could put my arm around him in the middle of this fucking thing and be like, "Holy shit!" And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Where else could you do that at? Maybe at a soccer game or something like that. But like wrestling just hits different, and I'm just gonna say it like that. It just hits different, right? And it's just something you can share with anybody of all ages. It could be a 75-year-old man or like a 5-year-old kid. You can just share that magic with anybody, and I don't think there's really anything else that can compare to that, no matter what. And that's something, at least for the rest of my life, that I'm gonna hold on to, is just that magic and that energy that it brings to people. You know what I mean? And that's something I'm always gonna cherish, because again, I don't foresee myself ever not being a wrestling fan. I don't foresee myself ever stopping, to be like, oh, I'm done with this. Like this was gonna happen. Like I've been watching this my whole life, and how many people can say they've been watching something their whole life, besides maybe like obviously football or soccer, and then just to fall in love with it even more. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm so passionate about it that I could talk about it with over 2 hours with anybody. You know what I mean? And I just don't think it's comparable. And I think that's, for me, it's just keeping that magic and that energy, and it just hits different. Like I said,
Yeah, I love the way that you put that all together. Wrestling brings people together, and that's what I'm trying to do with this show, man. I'm
yeah, man,
trying to
I love it.
every week. I want to bring another wrestling fan, and even if I repeat questions, man, I everybody's going to give a different answer, and
Right.
it's going to resonate with somebody out there who watches this, right? Your what you're saying about wrestling being magic, wrestling bringing people together, that's going to resonate with somebody that's watching this out there.
Exactly. And I listen, if I can reach one person, because again, I'm not talking about this like it bores me. Like this is passionate for me. I love this. Like I legitimately love this. Like this is something I'll wear a t-shirt for any day of the week, right? I'll go around like working open a Hulk Hogan shirt if I didn't want to, waste the money. I don't want to break this t-shirt, so I won't do that. But like anything, like I can go out there and like, shoot the shit with anybody, do a yes movement, anything, or it's just can't compare, man. I love this, man. I love this so much, and like, I've made friends over this, and it just makes me happy, you know.
So cool, man. Dude, thank you so much for being on this.
Wow.
We're
Dude,
we're
thank
we're
you.
already like two
After
hours
two
and 10
hours,
minutes into this. So I don't know if you got work tomorrow, but
it's all
uh
right.
I'm packing to go to the shore for the weekend.
Oh man, have
Um
fun.
oh, thank you. But anybody that is willing to sit down and just talk wrestling like this for 2 hours, like I can't tell you how grateful I am to
Yeah, man.
just give your time
No,
and
man.
do something like
Thank you
this.
for having me. Like honestly, I'll tell you, like I was super excited about this, like the whole week. Like since you've been since you messaged me the other day after SummerSlam, asked me to be on your show, I was like, hell yeah, man, this is fucking exciting, right? And again, I could shoot the shit about this probably for another 2-3 hours. Like I could literally talk about this for hours. Like, and it was great. And I hope, I look forward to watching, more of Hot Takes and Headlocks, and, hopefully seeing X on here. So again, I'm going to talk so much shit to you, brother. Uh, and it's with love. And a little bit of hate in there. A little bit of hate.
Oh, that's gonna make for an exciting episode. As soon
I
as
was
we
super
get
hyped.
X booked, I'm gonna put that out on social media. So everybody within my social circle, I'll tag him so everybody in his social
Ooh,
circle knows about it so that we can get everybody on here lighting up
yeah.
the chat and all
Well,
that.
hopefully he's not late like he is to everything else.
Oh man. Okay. Okay. All right. So maybe I might need your help to get him booked for this show. You may need to be the middleman right here to make sure
Yeah,
that this happens.
yeah. You tell him 9 o'clock. You'll see him at like 9:30 Dominican time. Yeah.
He's already on Dominican time. Shots fired.
Oh man.
All right, all right. So, guys, stay tuned. We're going to make sure that we get Xavier on here for a future episode. Again, I'm your host, Joe Zaletta. This is the email. If you are interested in being on a future episode of Hot Takes and Headlocks, email me at hottakesandheadlocks@gmail.com.
Yep.
Again, what a pleasure to have you on here. We got to do it again
Thanks,
sometime
man.
soon. We're
Appreciate
going to
you.
stay
Yeah,
in
let me
touch.
know.
Yeah. We'll be live again next Thursday night at 9 p.m. I think we have a guest pending for next week. I don't want to announce it yet, just in case things fall through. But tune in next week. Hot Takes and Headlocks Thursday night, 9 p.m. And we are out. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
And don't forget to like and subscribe, please.
Yeah, follow me right there at the bottom.
Oh my gosh, dude, I forgot. Is there anything that you want to plug before we sign off?
I mean, not so much, but like, feel free to follow me on Instagram, Black Belt Ramos. Let's shoot the shit, man. I'm always down to make new wrestling friends. So if you want to shoot the shit, talk or whatever, I'm always looking for new friends to, go to wrestling shows with since, you know, Xavier abandons me. And that's another one for the road. Uh, but yeah, anytime. Let me know, guys. Add me, follow me.
All right. Good night. Bye bye.
Later, guys.